They smiled in my face, took family photos, and even toasted to new beginnings, but the next morning, my bank account was wiped clean. I stared at the screen, heart pounding, as the transaction history showed exactly what I feared. Every penny, gone. Then my dad looked me dead in the eyes and said, "We deserved it more than you." It had taken me 8 years of quietly building a small online brand into a booming e-commerce company. No one knew. Not even my family. I let them believe I was still just freelancing or still figuring things out. I wore the same sneakers, kept my Toyota, and never showed off. Why? Because deep down, I knew the moment they saw my success, they'd change. The family reunion was my test. I hadn't attended one in 3 years. This time, I decided to go. I rented the Airbnb everyone was staying in. I paid for all the catering. I even handed out gift bags. But I kept it all anonymous. Just wanted to see their real faces. Spoiler, I got more than I bargained for. From the second I arrived, the whispers began. "Oh look, Caroline finally decided to show up. Still unemployed, huh? Must be nice having zero responsibilities." I smiled through it. Even when my cousin Rachel loudly joked that I probably still lived off ramen noodles. I laughed with her. I kept my cool, but nothing prepared me for what happened the morning after. I logged into my account just to check something small. And that's when the screen froze. Well, it felt like it did. The balance showed 4 cents. I refreshed. Same thing. Every single dollar I had carefully saved and earned was gone. In panic, I called my bank. While on hold, I checked recent activity, and that's when I saw it. A series of transfers to an account under the name Michael T. Reynolds. My dad. I rushed to confront him, still barefoot, heart racing. He was calmly sipping coffee in the kitchen. My voice cracked when I asked, "Why? Why would you take everything from me?" And without blinking, he said those words that burned into my chest: "We deserved it more than you. We're family. You'll survive." My knees almost gave out. He acted like I owed him my entire life. Like I should be grateful they took what I built. He said I was lucky to even be included in the family again. My mother didn't speak. She just looked down, pretending the floor was interesting. My brother smirked. I stood there, humiliated, robbed, and speechless, but what they didn't know was that the account they emptied wasn't my real one. I let the silence hang in the air, thick with judgment and entitlement. My father turned his back, already texting like none of this mattered. My brother casually bit into a bagel, chewing with that smug, lazy smile he always wore when he thought he'd won. My chest burned, but not from sadness. From clarity. They really believed I was stupid. They thought I kept all my wealth in one single account, like a child. That I had no lawyers. No protections. No backup. I walked out without another word. No yelling. No crying. Just a quiet exit. Because now, it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the message. They needed to learn, you don't rob the quiet one and expect silence forever. That evening, I called Leah, my lawyer and best friend since college. She handled all the paperwork for my company, the trademarks, the tax structures, and the trust one had set up years ago. The account they drained? That was just a shell, intentionally visible. A test. Leah had warned me my family smelled like vultures the moment she met them. I didn't listen then. But now? Now I was ready to listen. And strike, pull the trigger, I told her. Transfer everything out of the holding accounts. And activate the contingency plan. She laughed softly. Finally. I've been waiting for this day. By the next morning, 3 things had happened. The Airbnb the family stayed in was suddenly no longer paid for under my name. All the family members who relied on my quiet monthly help, the auto-paid bills they never asked about but always enjoyed, got cut off. And the biggest one? I had the trust's legal team send a cease and desist letter to my father and brother. Because the account they touched, even if it held barely anything, was connected to my business holdings. Meaning they had technically committed financial fraud. The news hit during my cousin Anna's birthday brunch. I wasn't there. But the screaming voicemail from my mother played like music in my AirPods while I drank matcha at my penthouse window. "You're tearing this family apart, Caroline. After all we've done for you." All they'd done was take, but it was time to give them a taste of their own medicine, and I wasn't done yet, because the real show was just about to begin. The annual Reynolds Foundation Gala was next week, and I had just bought the title sponsor, the night of. The Reynolds Foundation Gala arrived, and as always, the entire family showed up dressed like royalty. Suits, gowns, fake smiles. This was their stage, a place to rub shoulders with wealthy donors, local politicians, and pretend they were more important than they really were. They had no clue the stage now belonged to me. The venue was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling chandeliers, velvet-covered walls, violinists playing softly in the background. My father stood near the open bar, boasting to some corporate guests about family legacy and old money values. My brother hovered nearby, sipping champagne like he owned the room. Then came the announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome tonight's title sponsor, Caroline Munro, CEO of Munro Enterprises. The room froze. My father's face twitched. He turned toward the stage, confused. Looking for someone. Anyone. Not me. But then I walked out. Spotlight. Applause. Microphone in hand. I was wearing the same color dress my mother once said made me look too ambitious. I stood tall, unbothered, confident. The moment I said my first word, the silence was deafening. Some of you may know me as the girl who disappeared from these events a few years ago. The quiet one. The one who never quite fit the Reynolds mold. That's because while some of you were busy playing family politics, I was busy building something real. A gasp. Two women dropped their champagne glasses. I didn't stop. I founded Munro Enterprises in silence. And while my family thought I was broke, I was structuring a multi-million-dollar brand that now operates across 6 countries. And tonight, I'm proud to say, I bought your name off this event. So technically, this is the Munro Foundation Gala now. You could hear the air leave my father's lungs. I turned toward him, smiling. Dad, remember when you said you deserved my money? More than me? Well, I decided to give you some. I bought out the silent shares of your small tech company. Effective as of yesterday, you work for me now. Laughter. Real, sharp laughter from the crowd. I wasn't done yet, and to my brother, who once said, I'd always need him to survive, I reviewed your resume last night. And let's just say, I wouldn't hire you as a barista. His face turned blood red. He stormed out. My father followed, silent for once in his life. I ended my speech by turning back to the crowd. Sometimes, silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. And betrayal? That's just fuel. Thunderous applause. Cameras flashing. The family that used to mock me had just been dismantled in front of their entire world. Not with revenge, but with success. And still, I had one final card left to play. 2 days later, my father showed up at my office, unannounced, desperate, and visibly shaken. The same man who once said I was a burden to the family name now sat across from me, nervously tapping his gold pen, asking for mercy. I didn't know, Caroline, he said, voice trembling. I thought you were just playing around with little online side gigs. I leaned back, arms crossed. No, Dad. You never thought. You just assumed I'd never be more than your silent disappointment. He shifted, trying to smile. Look, maybe we didn't treat you fairly, but we're still family. We can fix this, right? I mean, maybe I can come on board. Offer guidance. Help steer the company. That's when I slid the folder across the table. Inside, a detailed legal breakdown of how I'd just acquired 60% of Reynolds Systems, the business he spent 20 years building. The same company he refused to even let me intern at because he said I wasn't ready for the real world. He flipped through the pages. You bought out my partners? I nodded. Quietly. Over the last 18 months. Just business. He swallowed hard. What do you want from me, Caroline? I already have what I want, I said calmly. But if you're asking about your role, well, you're welcome to stay. As a junior consultant. Starting salary. $62,000. No bonus structure. His face collapsed. His pride tried to object, but his mouth couldn't form the words. That same man who once screamed at me for bringing home a B+, now reduced to begging for a desk. I ended the meeting by calling in my assistant. Please help Mr. Reynolds fill out his onboarding paperwork. He didn't speak. He just left the room, but the final blow wasn't mine to deliver. That night, my mother called. She wasn't crying, she was furious. You humiliated us. You've turned into someone else, cold, arrogant. Is this revenge worth it? I replied. You told me to always stay quiet. To not make waves. But guess what? Still waters run deep. And now? They drown liars. I hung up, and for the first time in my life, I felt free from their control. Free from their narratives. Free from the shame they tried to brand me with. I returned to my office window, watching the skyline, sipping my coffee. A notification popped up, featured in Forbes. The silent CEO who outsmarted her entire family. I smiled. Not for the headline, but because I knew this was only the beginning, and the world had no idea what I was about to do next.